From Lionsgate and Roadside Attractions, Nicolas Cage is the Surfer, which is actually how the opening credits of the film read. This is a film that has gotten zero promotion, and it's worthy of your time. If you're into the unusual. Now, I know a lot of folks love Nicolas Cage because he bugs his eyes and shows his teeth and screams and acts really a lot. This is a film where he doesn't do that. So if you know me, you know this is a film I'm willing to give a chance. This is the best thing I think Nicolas Cage has done that I've seen since Pig, which was another film where he was restrained and he was actually acting and not just, being Nicolas Cage. This was a really interesting film. It's a really atypical film just to see in theaters right now because it's essentially, I don't want to call it a remake, but let's say it is heavily influenced by an Australian film of the 70s called Wake and Fright that is a very unique, intense experience. It is heavily influenced by one of my favorite movies, the late 60s film The Swimmer, starring Burt Lancaster. And it has a pinch of Troma's Surf Nazis Must Die in it. So I'm going to give you a little bit of what the story is, but I don't like spoilers. Like, this is a movie that I went to 100% blind. I knew Nicolas Cage was in a movie called The Surfer. There was probably going to be surfing involved. And somebody gave me a very vague description, which wasn't really accurate, and I'm glad it wasn't. So, film is set in Australia. I'll give you just a hint here. Set in Australia, Nicolas Cage is a fairly affluent dad who's taking his son on a hooky day to go to the beach, to go surfing at a beach that meant a lot to him as a kid. We learn as the film goes on that apparently Nicolas Cage was born in Australia, and his family, his father died when he was young, and his mother moved the family to America. So there is some weird accent discrepancies, because as you watch the film, if you don't know this, you're watching it and suddenly, like, Nicolas Cage is speaking American accented English, and then his son is speaking with an Australian accent, and that seems a little weird. Then everybody he talks to on the phone has like an Australian accent, and everybody around him on the beach, it's like, okay, this must be Australia, because for all I knew, it was, Laguna Beach or Malibu or something as it stands. So he is a guy who is trying to come back to his home that he grew up in, trying to purchase the family home that he lived in as a kid and sort of get his family back together. His family has broken up. He's separated from his wife. He's trying to win favor of his son and show his son that he's a cool, manly dad. And they go, I swear I'm not telling you the whole story. They go surfing on the beach, and they are met with all these muscle-bound guys who just keep saying, the beach is only for locals, get out of here. And they get violent and they get aggressive. And Nicolas Cage, his whole life is built around having worked incredibly hard to get to where he is in life, saving up enough money so that he can buy back this house he lived in as a kid. Things spiral increasingly out of control from there. And this film, it makes you question what you're watching. Is he losing his sanity? Are we seeing the present? Are we seeing the past? Are we seeing the future? Is he who he says he is? Are all of the characters really there? It's fascinating if you go in as blind as I did. If you have never seen movies like The Swimmer or Wake and Fright, it might just seem like a weird, bad movie. I really don't know. I think an average audience, this is not for a normal audience. This is not for an audience who likes Nicolas Cage from Gone in 60 Seconds and Con Air and that stuff. This is for an audience who is into more art house films, it's really a modern art house exploitation film, if you ask me. And I just thought it was really interesting. It really held my interest, and Cage was really good in it. He only kind of goes nuts a little toward the end, and I will say story-wise, the film veers a little toward the end into an area that I thought was a little, well, to say it goes into goofy areas. I mean, most of the film goes into a goofy area. It goes into an area that I didn't love that it went there, but ultimately I thought it was very good, and it makes you think. It makes you think a lot about what you're watching, what's real and what's not. How far will somebody go to try to remedy wrongs of the past? How much of sons repeating the sins of the fathers goes on, and what is this world we are watching? The whole thing really takes place in the parking lot, above the beach, and on the beach, as Cage just kind of unravels over time. So I thought this was excellent. It's obviously not going to be for everybody. There was one other person in the theater when I went to see this, but it's a good theater film. Interesting opening titles that feel a lot like they're paying homage to The Swimmer or Wake and Fright. Very retro looking opening titles, very retro score, a really nice orchestral score that feels like the late 60s, and just a very interesting film. I really don't want to say too much about it beyond that, but if you're open to something a little bit unusual that ultimately is pretty rewarding, I would highly recommend seeing this in the theater if you can, because it's really nicely shot. And Nicolas Cage, once in a while, I have nothing against the guy. I just think he makes a lot of movies that are not very good or that I don't like, and his performances are too often unhinged, and people kind of celebrate that, and I think it's just bad acting. But in this, it's not. In this, it's really very interesting. So if you have seen the films I keep referencing earlier, I'd be very curious to see what you think of this, because some people online are saying it's just ripping off Wake and Fright. Some are saying it's an homage. Some are saying it's just similar. I think it's very similar, but I like Wake and Fright, and I like The Surfer. So what can I say? In theaters now, Nicolas Cage is The Surfer.